So good to be with you. And let me just shed some light on the situation. So how's it, Marlon? How are you?
Very well, thank you, Barry.
Good, good. So talking about one-page strategic plan, the second part of it. So I suppose I'd really just let me start off and ask who the first-time people on this call. If you just type in the chat box and just say first time, welcome. If this is your first time, welcome on the call. Those of you that were on last week, Nkosi, welcome. Excellent, thank you. Great having you, Nati, not Nkosi. Nati, nice having you on. Lulaman, nice having you on. Well done, welcome. And obviously to the rest of you that have been on this before and join us regularly, welcome back. And tonight we're going to be talking part 2 of the one-page strategic plan. So Niels, missed last week. Welcome back. Good to have you on. So yeah, I want to kick off by just asking, from what we did last week, are there any comments? What did you get out of the process? How many of you have started implementing the one-page strategic plan? How many of you went to Gazelle's, started downloading some of their tools? If you just wouldn't mind, Marlon, are the people that want to speak and give me some feedback, you just can open up their mic, or alternately, if you guys just want to type, what did you learn? What did you get out? Where are you? Were there any ahas, and how are you doing on getting this one-page strategic plan going? So if you just type it in, or what did you find? And then we can and then we'll do a recap and get into part 2. Anyone want to give some feedback? What did you learn?
Sure, and if anybody wants, they can just raise their hand, and I'll also open up your mic. That's another thing. But I see something came in.
Great. So Debbie from Zim says it really helps with clarity. Do you want to expand a little bit more on that, Debs? How's it, Debs? Nice having you in from Harare town. Great to have you on the call. So yeah, just do you want to expand a little bit more on that comment? It really helps with clarity. How did it help you get more clarity? Hey, Deb, how are you?
Oh, good, thanks. How are you, Barry?
Always good, thank you.
Oh, brilliant. It just helps with the fine-tuning of really what it is that it almost forces you to get your focus. Well, it does. It helps you get that focus. And it picks out what's most important and most relevant, because sometimes we can waft and drift. But it just helps you with the relevancy and your focus and what it is that you really want.
Excellent. So how many of you, when you were doing the one-page strategic plan, and Debs, I don't know if you picked this up, but how many of you realize there's a lot of stuff we do that we just do because it's part of what we do, and we get busy and we think it's important until we actually narrow it down and go, wow, it's not actually as important. Did you find that?
Yes, it's important to be able to pinpoint what it is that you really want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So how did you find, did you outline a big, hairy, audacious goal?
I did.
Would you like to share that with us?
It's a really big, scary, hairy one.
Good. What is it?
Okay, so Barry, it's I want to create a business with other coaches in it. Now that's huge for me because I don't see this going beyond myself. So that really puts me out of my comfort zone. So yeah, getting partners on board, which would be awesome, as well as office staff. And my other big, hairy, audacious goal is giving talks throughout Africa and eventually globally. And that's massive.
Oh, brilliant. Okay,
yeah,
good. And that is coming out of Zoom. So that's really exciting. Well done. Brilliant. And does that scare you?
Terrifies me.
Awesome. Great feedback, James. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
So Delian says, helped us to become very specific in what we want and what we need to do. So just taking on from what Debbie was saying, clarity, focus, get rid of all the fluff and get specific on what are the key things that you need to drive. Great. Thank you, Delian. Awesome feedback. So Marlon, who the hands that are raised, who would like to, you want to open up their mics and we can get their feedback?
Okay. I think someone put their hand down, so now I can't find them.
So one was Daniel, I think, and one was Nati.
Nati, your mic.
Hi, sorry, Barry. I just stepped out. I hear my name being mentioned. My apologies.
No problem, Nati. We just saw your hand was up. We wanted to know if you wanted to contribute anything.
No. Actually, I had raised it up when you asked who's joining for the first time.
Cool.
But I'm very excited because I'm a strategy teacher myself. If I'm very excited to hear.
Very good. Well, great having you on the call. So, anyone else that did the OnePage homework from last session want to contribute? What did you learn? How did it help you? Any ahas? Okay, so let's in that case, let's move on to part 2. Just remember this, as Marlon said, I love being interactive. So if you want to ask a question, if you want to chip in, if you're uncertain, unsure about anything, if you have an aha that you want to share with anyone else, either raise your hand and Marlon will open up your mic, or just type it into the chat and I'll work with it from there. So let's just go to, let me go into, okay, can you all see, you can all see the PowerPoint. Okay, great. So unusual for me to work with the PowerPoint, but in this environment works well. So yeah, let's just kick off doing a bit of a review of what we taught in the last session. So first thing, so we're going to review what did we do in part 1. The key component, and Debbie put it out there, and so did Delian, that it allows us to keep it really, really simple, really, really focused. One of the things that I think I often see with entrepreneurs, we get lost in this complexity of a business plan that we think we need to develop. Those of you that have been in any of my rooms when it comes to teaching sales, entrepreneurship, is this piece, is keep it as simple as possible. You know, when you do a strategic plan for sales, a funnel, can you keep it on one page? When you do a strategic plan for your business, can you keep it on one page? It forces you to keep it simple. Now, there's a couple of reasons why we want to keep it simple. 1, we can understand it. 2, it's easy to carry around. 3, one of the arts of building a business is being able to duplicate. And if you want to duplicate, the simpler the better. It's much easier to teach people. So as Robert Kiyosaki often says, if you really want to learn how to teach people well, you need to keep it as simple that a 6-year-old can understand it. So part of this is keeping it very, very simple. These are the key pieces. This is what we do. So I'll give you an example. I have a new mentor that I'm sort of working with. You know, I have essentially 2 key mentors in my business right now. One is Blair Singer. Some of you have heard of Blair. One of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Advisors, and then the other around programs that we're working on is Robert Kiyosaki himself. And I've recently taken on and asked a guy I have a lot of respect to start mentoring me. And when we were talking about what my plans are, it was so nice for me to be able to just say to him, I have a 1-page strategic plan that I did at the beginning of the year. I'm going to email you the 1 page, and it'll explain everything that I want to be able to do without him having to wade through a 20-page business plan on all the stuff that I want to do. It becomes really, really clear. So keep it simple. Remember, as I said last time, what I'm teaching you on this is not my stuff. It doesn't come from me. I always believe in acknowledging source. You know, one of the things I I was taught right from the beginning when I started working with Blair Singer, is always acknowledge source. So the teaching comes from a guy called Vern Harnish out of a business called Gazelles, and you can go onto www.gazelles.com and download a lot of material that you can utilize. The reason I teach is I've been using it for over a decade, and I find it such a powerful set of tools that you can utilize. So let's get into a little bit of a review on what did we do in session 1. So pretty quickly, when we're looking at building up our strategic plan, we start at the base of the triangle. The base of the triangle is where we want our foundation, and that foundation starts with core values. And the core values really tell us what we should and what we shouldn't do, and these are things that last forever. So in our world at Uncovering Greatness, in the Blair Singer world, in the Rich Dad world, we call it a code of honor, a set of rules that outlines our core values. So I'm hoping those of you that didn't have a code of honor, didn't have a set of rules, spent a bit of time over the last couple of weeks since our last call in starting to define what those values are. And I'll say it again, those values tell you what behaviors you should do and what behaviors you shouldn't do. So that underpins everything that you do in your business. When you drive, so there we go, like the 10 Commandments, the Code of Honor is a set of rules that determine how we should or should not behave. So what are your core values? Second part is, what's your purpose? This is the why. In a business, it's generally the why or the purpose is determined by the life of the leader. Once the current leader moves on and somebody else comes in, they may or may not create a different purpose. In our world, we call it a mission. What's our mission? At Uncovering Greatness, we have a mission. Our mission is to make a significant impact on the entrepreneurial landscape in South Africa and Africa. Okay, so it's a purpose that I am very clear on. It's the why I do what I do. My focus is more than anything on entrepreneurs and building entrepreneurs. I personally believe we live on the greatest continent on this planet. I believe we live on the most abundant continent on this planet with the most scarce mindseted people. And if we actually change that by changing the way we teach people and educate people in the area of entrepreneurship, we'll create jobs and all those type of things. So that's the why. In my business and Uncovering Greatness, that connects the people to our business who I work with. That connects our team to us. So the purpose is your why you're in business, determined by the leader. As I said, our Uncovering Greatness mission is to make a significant positive impact on the entrepreneurial landscape in South Africa. Now, as we're going through the strategic plan, so that'll start fleshing out a little bit more. Our target. So now we're getting so the core values are forever. The purpose is for the life of the leader. The target is where are we going to play? And now we're starting to talk 3 to 5 years. So what are we going to do in the next 3 to 5 years? Now, as part of our target, we also start looking at a fairly longer term approach of where are we going to go also in the next sort of 10 years. So where are we going to play? You know, are we going to play in our local region? Are we going to play in our province? Are we going to play in our country? So when you heard Debbie starts talking about a longer term goal of what she said is she wants to start building a team of coaches. From the team of coaches, she wants to start expanding into Africa. From Africa, she wants to start expanding globally. Now, in the next 3 to 5 years, you probably find that Debbie's target will be to develop a team of trainers, 5, 10, whatever it might be. But without being able to do that, she won't be able to move to a 10-year goal or a 15-year purpose in terms of where she's going. So, target, where do you want your business to be in 3 to 5 years? What are the key capabilities? What are the key areas that you really need to focus on, 5 or 6 of them, to allow that to happen? So, goals. What are the goals that you're going to achieve? And when we talk goals, we're talking yearly. So now we're going from a 3 to 5 year to a yearly. What is it that you want to achieve this year? So I gave you some examples last time out of the Uncovering Greatness one-page strategic plan. Our 3 to 5 year targets. We have a future date, 3 years, 2021. We are clear on the revenues that we want to achieve. We know the net profit that we want to achieve, and what we start putting down is where are we playing? So we're playing South Africa and Africa. We want to create a global reach, and we want to move into an online reach. Okay. Any questions around this so far? Any questions or comments? Anyone want to say anything? Add anything?
Hello.
Yeah.
Debbie, go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry, Barry. Where I kind of like come really short is, and this is my problem in life, it's the whole financial side. You know, your revenue and so on. And again, without sounding like I'm making an excuse, with the way monetary goes in the money situation in Zimbabwe, 1 minute it's this, the next minute it's that. You know, it's tricky to know what you're basing it on, because if our money devalues by, let's say, 400% within a fortnight, now your goal is changing. It's not like you can charge people 400% more because they're not earning it. So that's where the difficulty is coming in on my side.
Okay, good. So the reality, Deb, is it's not an excuse. Those of us that are in South Africa, we're very fortunate. We have a fairly stable currency. Makes it a little bit easier for us. So there's a couple of ways you can handle that. One, you can create a baseline. So you can just say, when I did the strategic plan, it's based on this. It's based on the US dollar equaling A, B, C, and D. Okay. So as that changes, so you start shifting the monetary figure. The other way you can do it when there's so much uncertainty around that, is you can start creating targets like, how many clients do you want every month? How many sessions are you going to do every month? How many training programs are you going to do every month? So instead of having the monetary figure, what you're going to measure is you're going to measure the amount of people that you're coaching, or you're going to measure the amount of people that come into your training room. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Yeah, that's
so if you're charging $100 a person now, and the whole monetary system changes, and you end up charging or hundreds of dollars at the moment, which is equivalent to God knows what, four times, 3 times, 2 times. What you're doing is, as the monetary thing shifts, you're still focused on the amount of clients that you have, and that should allow you to be able to keep up to where you're going.
That's perfect, Barry. Thank you. Oh, right. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. Thanks.
So, and then it'll relate back into a monetary section. In South Africa, where we have a stable currency, where we're sitting, you've got to have that monetary thing. What is it that you're doing? What revenue are you creating? What net profits? So when you look at the template, you'll see that in the 3 years, it's very simple. It's a future date, it's revenue or turnover, and it's net profit. Okay, so that's the key focus. The key thrust and capabilities that start coming out of our target are, what are the things that we need to achieve in 3 years that will allow us to achieve our mission and our purpose. So in terms of uncovering greatness, when we are I'll give you that. Our goal is to make a significant impact. We have what is called a big, hairy, audacious goal, which comes from the teachings of Jim Collins. Our big, hairy, audacious goal by 2029, which is a 10-year horizon, is to teach, train, and positively impact 1 million entrepreneurs through uncovering greatness events in Africa. Okay, so we want to impact 1 million entrepreneurs. Now, what's very clear, you just do the maths. I cannot do that myself. So one of our key thrusts and capabilities is our goal is to develop 30 trainers in the next 3 years that teach and train in the methodology that we teach and train. Now, that links to our whole strategic plan, so that in 10 years, we have a minimum of 100 teachers and trainers that are doing what we're doing, and that allows us to be able to scale. Does that make sense? So your goals. So essentially, in part one, where you should have got up to is you should have got up to this piece around targets. Where are your targets? What's your big, hairy, audacious goal? We talked about a couple of things, and we'll expand on that a little bit more. So you get goals. It's the what. What do you need to do this year? What do you need to do this year? What are the key actions and activities? What are the key initiatives? Once you start doing that, what are the actions that you're going to drive? And this is the how. And that's driven into a quarter. So you can see how this is being built up. 10 years, mission, purpose, 10, 15 years, 3 to 5 years, 1 year. What you do in a year leads you to 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years to 10 years, and you break the year down into the quarter. So now you focus on the quarter. What are the actions, the deliverables that you're going to deliver on in the quarter? And then from the quarter, what are you going to do on a week-to-week basis? So what are the core things that you do every week? How does it support the goals that you're doing on a quarter? And when are you going to get them done? And then probably the most important thing out of everything, and this is where a lot of people fall down. We draw these happy plans and all this sort of stuff, but the number one place that we fall down is when it comes to this, the accountability, the who. Who is going to do it? When are they going to do it by? And what's going to be done every single day? And how do you hold things accountable? I know in the Uncovering Greatness organization, we had a discussion on Monday morning. We have a team meeting every Monday morning, and our discussion was one of the things that we do is we every week we discuss one part of our code of honor. And funny enough, the piece of our code of honor that came up was ask more of others than they ask of themselves. And that drove into the whole piece around accountability. How do we hold people accountable? What is our method of holding accountability, and the importance of holding accountability? So this really is the platform that you start creating your strategic plan on. So just to give you an overview, that's really what we went through in the last webinar doing the first part of this. So who's accountable to ensure that actions are completed? One person must have accountability to ensure the task is done. One of the most important parts in any business is how do you drive accountability and who is accountable. Any questions on this so far? Any questions or comments before we move on? You guys learning something out of this? You're getting some value out of this piece? Just raise your hand if you're getting value, or just comment. Okay, good. Any questions? Okay, great. Thank you for the response. Awesome. Okay, good. So let's move on. So essentially, here is your one-page strategic plan. This is the template that you can work on, that you can download. And as I said, you go to gazelles.com and you can download it. I've taken this template, created, modified it a little bit for our use. And so what you can see here is what we've been through. So pretty simply, what are your core values? As I said, 10 commandments. What's your code of honor? Okay. Who's on your team? It's essential to know who's on your team. So if you like Debbie and you're going to build a team right now, who's on your team? Maybe it's just Debbie. And if it's just Debbie, what's she going to need? Who's she going to have to start building? Who's on your team? Who are your key partners? Who are your minor partners? What's your mission? Okay. Why? Why are you in business? Why is it so important? Pretty simple, because that's the heart of your business. It's mission driven. When you create the right mission that makes sense to other people, you attract the right people. When the only thing you focus on is money, there's no mission. One of our problems with many entrepreneurs, it's funny, I was reading some stuff on Facebook today, and it's amazing how the amount of people actually think that the purpose of a business is all around money. The result of a business is money. That's the result. When you're on mission and when you're making sense, you'll make money. But too many people get focused on money and they lose the essence of what we do. They lose value. They don't contribute. And because of this whole money thing. So what's the purpose? Why are people going to want to follow you? What change are you making in the world? What significant difference are you making? So we've been through this. What are the actions that you'll take to live your purpose? What is your brand promise? Importantly, what are you promising your customers? To develop your brand promise. What is your big, hairy, audacious goal? Something that's so big in the next 10, 15, 20 years that you really want to achieve that you can't physically possibly do by yourself. You need to get other people to do it, and you need to create leverage. What is that big, hairy, audacious goal? What are your targets? Where do you want your business to be in 3 to 5 years? What market do you intend to play in? So Debbie shifted through those markets. What's the market you intend to play in? At Uncovering Greatness, I'm very, very clear. Our market is Africa. I have a passion for this continent. I want to see it grow. I want to see entrepreneurs build. I have an absolute passion around educating entrepreneurs, because I just believe that the current education system and how we do it is very flawed. So we got to teach people how to think and act in a different way, how to be somebody different to create something different out of their business. And that's where we play. So if you, for example, just connected to what I've just talked about in our mission and our vision and the sandbox and the market we want to play, you'll be the type of person that'll be saying, I'd like to get more connected with Uncovering Greatness. If you don't, and it's not something that actually worries you and you want to go somewhere else, well, you're not going to connect with us, and that's okay. You're looking for the people that connect with us because we're clear on that mission and purpose. Does that make sense? So what sandbox are you going to play in, or what sandpit are you playing in? What are your quantifiable targets? What are your numbers? Quantifiable thrusts and numbers that you're going to drive in the next 3 to 5 years. And that really takes us into step 5, into part 2. Where do you want your business to be in the next 12 months? Digging down right now into taking it into, in the next 12 months, where do I want to be? So, this is an ideal time in 3 days' time. For most of us, we will go into a new financial year. Great time to be saying, in the next financial year, what do I want my business to look like? Okay, so my goals are coming out of for 1 year. So the year ending 20. So my year will be 2019, 2020. Year ending February 2020. What's my revenue? What's my gross profit? My net profit? My gross margin? Cash? What are my debtors days? What are my invoicing days? What is my revenue per employee if I have a team? So you can change the measurables that you want around money, but now we're getting very, very clear in the nitty-gritty of what we want to develop when it comes to the finances. The second part is, what are we doing in our business when it comes, what are the key initiatives now that you need to drive this year that supports the key thrusts and capabilities over here of the 3-year goal. So it's critical that these initiatives must support the 3-year plan. So I talked to you about our key thrust. So our action is to have 100 trainers to fulfill our purpose in 10 years' time to allow us to achieve our big, hairy, audacious goal. Our key thrust in 3 years is to have 30 trainers. Our key thrust in year 1 is to have 20 trainers that are going through the certification base. We currently have 12, which means within the next 12 months, we now have to have another 8 trainers that are coming through our certification base. Why? Because our certification is an 18 to 24-month process. So we take people through to get them certified so they become part of the Uncovering Greatness team. They get certified and they can teach the way we teach. So I'm very clear that by the end of, by February 2020, we'll have 12 trainers that are certified, that have been through the level 1 certification, and our goal is to have 8 trainers that have started the program. Now we're starting to build towards the 30. Does that make sense? So, one of our other goals, for example, is we are one of our major partners in our business is Robert Kiyosaki and the Rich Dad organization in terms of where we're going through our Blair Singer Training Academy. And so our key thrust and capability is to work with and expand that relationship over the next 3 years. Right now, we have a program called Awaken Your Financial Genius. It's a 10-module program which is focused on the Rich Dad methodology around financial literacy and financial intelligence. So teaching from the perspective of what the Rich Dad advisors teach. It's a 10-module program. Now, it's critical that if we are going to grow that relationship, if we're going to expand in teaching and expanding the mission of financial literacy in the next 3 to 5 years, which was one of our key thrusts, what we need to be doing is we need to be taking the Awaken Your Financial Genius program, and our 1-year goal is to make it the #1 financial literacy program for entrepreneurs in this country. Can you see how, now I could do a whole lot of other things. I could teach a program around I don't know, how to speak on stage. Now, yes, we're going to have to teach that through our trainers, but if that is not leading us to our key capabilities, then that'll tell me what I should and I shouldn't do in terms of my actions, whereas developing the Awaken Your Financial Genius program and growing that will be way more important. Does that make sense? So you can see how you start cutting down into creating a lot more clarity. When you have a lot more clarity, you can get a lot more focused. When you get focused, you can drive results. Most people are they either too cluttered about all the stuff that they think they should be doing in their head, or, they all over the place. So what are those key initiatives? So 1 year. So just 5 of them. Notice this is not a whole page. This is not 300, a list of 300 things that you're going to do this year. It's 5 key initiatives that support your key thrusts and your capabilities. Any questions on this piece so far? Please feel free. One of the rules that we have in our world, there are no wrong questions. If you don't know something, you've got to be able to put up your hand and ask. Okay, this is not school. You won't be made to feel stupid. You know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. Excellent. So it's Gillis. Gillis says, hi, Barry, with the forever price war we have to contend with daily, how do we compensate for this in our strategy plan without losing focus on our main goal? Okay, so Gillis, do you want to open your mic and expand a little bit on that for me, and we can have a little discussion around that?
Hi, Barry. Can you hear me?
How's it? Yeah, I can hear you good.
Thank you so much for hosting this webinar. Really appreciate all your input.
Pleasure. Good having you on it.
Right.
So give me a little bit more context around your thinking.
Barry, my company specifically, we do signage and branding to various different clients, and we've come across something quite interesting where we've got loads of guys doing what we do, but at far reduced prices. In other words, every Tom, Dick, and Harry tries to do this from their home, all right?
Yeah.
And that makes it extremely difficult to plan accordingly if the other guys are way cheaper than you are. And we're also finding it extremely difficult to convince clients to actually go with our pricing module that we've structured thus far to actually obtain the business.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a real problem that many people face. So I'm gonna put 2 things on the table. One, in sales, my belief is that my goal is never to convince anyone to do anything. Okay. So in the area of sales, I am never trying to convince people to do stuff that they don't want to do. So the other side of that is my belief in business is people pay for value.
Sure.
They always pay for value. And why do I say that? Because I'll give you an example. In my environment, in the training teaching environment, in the public sector, people run public seminars. Now, there's people that, do they know the content that I know? Yes, they do. But the reality is they will only charge 10,000 Rand for a day. I'll charge 35,000 Rand for a day. And people say to me, it's still sales training, or we do the same thing. The reality is this: no, they don't. They don't add the value that I add. They don't create the results that does that make sense? And the same thing is why can't I charge $1 million like Tony Robbins charges? I know a lot of the stuff that Tony teaches. That however, different set of value, different client base, different people that are prepared to pay that. So part of the strategic plan is you go back to what's the sandbox that you want to play in, what's the revenue that you want to generate, and the reality is not everybody's going to buy from you. So what you got to be able to do is you got to be really clear on who that target market is, what is your offering, where do you add value, and what will they be prepared to pay for the value that you add. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I was actually listening to a recording of Brian Tracy today where he actually covered a similar topic. And from what he's trying to say to us is people buy from desire, or you can use certain aspects to combat the whole price war. In other words, buying from desire you can create shortages, and impatience also plays a big role in actually nailing down that final sale. But I do realize we're talking about strategy tonight, but I just have difficulty planning the strategy forward if I have this price war issue hindering certain decision-making capabilities of getting this strategy finalized and saying, listen, guys, this is the way forward.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So when we're talking about prosperity, so prosperity in your personal life or prosperity in your business, what is the fruit of prosperity? If you're building a prosperous business, what is the fruit? How do you know that your tree is bearing good fruit? What do you measure?
To me, that's client satisfaction. It always has been.
Okay, so part of it is client satisfaction, but the reality is when it comes to business, what is the measurable fruit?
Finance, I suppose.
It's money. So
it's money.
When we look at our business, let's say it's an apple tree, how do you know that an apple tree is bearing great fruit? You look at it and the bushels are laden with big apples, yes?
Definitely.
So your business is the same. The measurement of a business, the fruit of prosperity is money. However, the problem I think many people get into is that's what they focus on. They think they focus on the business is all about money. The reality is this, is the root of prosperity is value.
Yeah,
so in business, the more value we got and add to people, the more people pay and allow us to create the fruit of prosperity.
Yes,
so part of it is between scarcity thinking and abundant thinking, long-term thinking and short-term thinking. Most people are running a business. Many people, it's like survival. If I make money today, and that's okay. However, in a longer-term strategy, in terms of what do I really want to add, what my experience is that over a longer period of time, people will stick to your value. You know, they will stick to what you offer. They will stick to your mission. They will stick to how you connect to supporting them. They will stick to your brand promise. I'll give you an example. Listen, our brand promise is that our brand promise is we'll be an exchange in all dealings. So what that means is in all dealings that we have, our goal is to make sure that there's always win-win. That you get the value you want and we get the value we need, and we're in exchange in everything we do. The second part of our brand promise is we promise that we'll deliver way more value than we promise we'll deliver. Now, what we've learned is if we go out there and we do that, we will connect with the people that are looking for us. The people that aren't looking for us, that don't want what we offer, that want a very cheap price, I get people that come to me and go, I want to come in your sales program. I go, 100%. What's the cost? 9,995 Rand. You got to be joking. You ripping us all. How could you charge so much? I go, okay, good. Well, don't come.
Yeah. Sounds
Does that make sense? Because I'm not looking. Either it's the wrong time in life for them, or they don't invest in their education, whatever it might be. But in that moment of time, I'm looking for people that go, I see value in what you're doing. I'm going to come. I'll find a way to get in there. Now, our goal is you come in there, we'll deliver more than we promised. Does that make sense? That's one of the hardest things, because we get lost on looking at what everybody else is doing, and it's like, crumbs, how are we going to compete? We think it's about price. You know, it comes down to value.
Definitely.
Make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense. Thanks, Barry.
Great question. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So, Real answered your question, www.gazelles.com. So you can go and have a look at it from there. Abdullah says, how do you handle when you have a number of businesses all running concurrently without getting distracted? Well, you get a lot more focus. You get a lot more clarity. For each part of your business, you draw up a strategic plan so you're clear on what they should be delivering, and then you deliver, and then you hold them to deliver on the core rocks, the core thrust, the core initiatives that create your business. So Abdullah, to give you an example, I have a group of trainers. We have different programs that they teach, and each one of them is at a different stage. I've got to work with them and focus them on the key deliverables for their program. So I can't get lost in a whole lot of stuff. So the tighter I make it, the more focused we get, the easier it is to manage. Hopefully that answers that. So, okay, excellent, great questions, good job. So let's move on. So again, we talked, what are your financial numbers? Do your financial numbers support your key initiatives? Do your key initiatives support your financial numbers? So like I said to Debbie, so for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, so what are my financial numbers? Well, my financial numbers will be supported about the amount of people we have in our programs, the amount of programs we're creating and doing those type of things. And when we're doing that, that supports our numbers, so they start running together. And then we start going down to, what are the critical numbers? So 2 or 3 critical numbers that you're going to measure every week and every month. So, for example, in our business, we measure leads. How many leads do we get from social media? How many leads do we get elsewhere? Those are critical numbers. How many leads are coming into the top of our funnel? We measure sales revenue. I'm a salesman. I have been for 27 years. In everything I do, I'm measuring revenue. I'm looking, what is our revenue? Revenue. What is our profit? We measure profit. Turnover is vanity, profit is sanity. The 4th thing we measure is cash flow. Where's our cash sitting? How much is coming in? And then another critical number that we have in our programs is how many delegates are we training? Why is that important? Because our 10-year focus is to train 1 million entrepreneurs. If we're not measuring how many delegates are coming through to our program, well, that's a critical number that supports our big, hairy, audacious goal. Does that make sense? So, and then another critical number is how many trainers are joining our accreditation program, so that we're building people. Once we do that, then we know the activities and the actions that go alongside that. So when you start putting that together to what you did in the last couple of weeks, now you start having a very clear goal on what you want to achieve this year. 5 or 6 key initiatives, some critical numbers that support those initiatives, that support the 3 to 5 year goal, that support your big, hairy, audacious goal, that support your mission, and then some clear financial numbers for this year. You've got to be clear. One of the things I've seen with way too many entrepreneurs, they don't know their numbers. We've just, we're in the process of completing a 12-month program that we've run with 160 entrepreneurs, developing entrepreneurs. The one thing that I would even say, 95% of all the entrepreneurs that came through that program don't understand numbers. They don't understand a financial statement. They don't understand the difference between gross profit and markup. They don't understand the difference between net profit and gross profit and the understanding around what are your revenues. So it's critical that you understand the numbers that drive your business. It's essential. That's one of the things that we teach is there's 2 core areas in business. One, you have to know how to sell, because sales equals income, and then you have to know how to manage that income, because that income that comes in is what creates the rest of your business. Does that make sense? So get clarity around these goals. So your task now, after tonight's webinar, is to sit down and drive this 1-year plan that starts linking into your 3 to 5 year and your 10-year horizon. Now, what you can then do is you can now turn it into a quarterly action sheet around what are you going to measure in the quarter. So this is a template that you can use, and in this template, what you'll see here, what are the key productivity drivers? So in our environment, as I said, I've modified this a little bit to what you'll see in Gazelle's. In our environment, our key productivity drivers are sales, teaching, and building team. Okay, so what are we selling? Who are we teaching, or what are we learning? And where are we developing team in order to support what we're doing? So there's 3 critical areas that we operate in. What are the actions that you're going to do in this quarterly period? So if you're developing a strategic plan for the new financial year, the quarterly period will be February, March, April. In those 3 months, what are you doing? So what are you going to measure? What's your target? What's your actual? What are the rocks? These rocks are, what are the key productivity drivers that you're going to drive? What are the key things that you're going to achieve this quarter that will support your annual goal. So remember, in the yearly, we had the 5 or 6 key initiatives. Now, out of those key initiatives, you'll have some key productivity drivers or rocks that you need to achieve. So, for example, one of our key initiatives in the first year is to build BSTA certification base in South Africa to 20 trainers. In order to do that, one of our key rocks, productivity drivers in the first quarter is to, for example, run a trainer program, or run a free program for a day teaching potential teachers and trainers our methodology. Or so we'll have a specific program that might be a half-day program or a day program that'll then maybe feed into the second quarter, which will be a 2-day or a 3-day train the trainer program, which will then feed into trainers going, hey, I like what you guys do, I want to become part of this. Then they become part of certification. Then we take the quarterly into 1 month. Now this is the hardest part, is driving the personal accountability into month. What is your personal accountability? What are your key performance indicators? What are the key things you need to deliver on? And what are your month's priorities? What's the goal? When are they due? Now, when you start pulling your team together, each one of you, every quarter, every month, operates on one piece of paper that drives accountability, that aligns itself to your one-page strategic plan. How many of you guys are seeing how the clarity and the simplicity starts coming together? When you have a meeting, what you should be pulling out is this one pager that I have right in front of me now, and holding you and your team accountable to what you need to do. So I'll give you an example. The guy that's going to start mentoring me now, this is what we're going to drive. I'm just going to sit down with him every month and say, this is where I need to go. I need you to hold me accountable to do these things. And really driving this piece of accountability to achieve those results. He's going to ask me the questions, he's going to give me guidance, and we're going to run accordingly. Same with my team is driving. That was our discussion yesterday in our meeting, is holding people accountable to what is this. So your month's priorities. Month's priorities are not a list. So productivity drivers. What do we need to do in sales? Who, or do we need to teach or learn? And what do we need to focus on in the team, or what roles needs to be filled in the team? Okay, so start working through this. Once you've got your year clarity, what are the actions? Where the rubber meets the road, this is the doing stuff. What are the measurables? What are you going to measure? You can't, if you're not measuring anything, if you don't set a target, if you don't have key activities, this just becomes a piece of paper that means absolutely nothing. So set a target and compare it as the months progress. What are your productivity drivers? So these are quarterly action items that are the highest priority, as I said, that support the year's initiatives. Accountability. Who's the responsible person for each rock? Personal accountability. Who'll be doing it? What will they be doing? When will they be doing it? And when will it be done by? What are the key performance indicators? And what are your priorities? Now, your priorities are not a to-do list. Okay, I'll say it again. This is not a to-do list. These are core priorities that you need to deliver on for the month, that support the key rocks for the quarter, that support the key rocks for the year. Any questions or comments on this piece? Any questions or comments on this? Rose, I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you shortly on your question. Well, you guys are maybe typing in some questions, or put up your hand if you want to comment or ask anything. Delia says, clear, great. Muriel says, didn't quite get the difference between thrusts and priorities. So let me go back here. So your key thrusts are 3 to 5 years. So these are bigger rocks. Okay, Muriel, these are bigger rocks. So our key thrust, for example, is 30 trainers in 3 years. So that's a key thrust or a key capability that we need to develop in our business. When you go through the year, the key initiative is to have 20 trainers this year. Okay, so key initiative, 20 trainers. Now, when I take it into this and I go, my month's priorities, okay, my priority for this month might be setting up a marketing campaign to market and sell into a free train the trainer program, which will be done next month, which means that a key rock for the quarter will be hosting a free train the trainer program. Does that make sense, Muriel? So the priority is I am going to set up the marketing campaign this month. Next month, I'm going to run the free program. The following month, I might run a 3-day trainer program, and that'll lead into the second quarter, where now I might want to have 8 trainers that have joined our business. Now we take them through the process. So you build it up step by step. Okay, great question. Thank you. Any other questions? So Michael says, what if you're not good at one aspect of your business? Do you leverage by employing someone else to do it? You outsource, Michael. You either employ or you outsource. You bring in the right people. You find the people that can do the stuff that you're not good at doing. That is the art of building a team, is bringing it in. Too many people get stuck in the S quadrant because they want to try to do everything. A number of reasons. One, they don't trust other people. 2, they think it's going to be expensive. So, it's like bookkeeper. Small business owners do their own books. Why would you want to do that? Whether you're an accountant or not an accountant, because money is the one area, for example, that you need to be held accountable to. So if you're not good at certain things, leverage it out, So just in certain areas, make sure that it's not because you're not good at it. Also make sure that you're not hiding away from it. So what I sometimes see, for example, in sales is entrepreneurs will go, no, I'll find a sales guy, not because they're not good at it, because they don't want to do it, because little voices and all that comes up. So you leverage, you outsource, you employ people. There's so many different ways to get it. Thanks, Michael. Great question. So any other questions around this one-pager and the accountability form so far? While you guys are typing or thinking of questions, I'm just going to answer Rose's question. Rose says, I'm in general supply and delivery, office, groceries, and cleaning material. Currently don't have control of my business because I only respond to quotations. What strategies can be used to engage? Rose, for me, the answer is very simple. You need to learn how to get out and sell. Sales equals income, income equals life. The better you want your business to grow, the better you need to learn how to sell. And if you want more control of your business, the first level of control is getting out and selling. Getting out, driving a customer base, connecting with the customer base, building a customer base, and that'll grow your business. That'll give you control. Once you start doing that and you have that control, then you start building a team. Does that make sense, Rose? Does that answer that? So, in our world, if that's something you'd like to learn how to do, Rose, we have a program called Sales and Leadership Mastery. Our next program is on the 5th and 6th of April. It's a 2-day program. Number of people on the call have done it. But really what that will do is that'll equip you to get out and take control of your business. The first thing in any business as an entrepreneur, small to medium-sized business owner, is you've got to be able to sell, to be able to take ownership and more control over your business. I come out of sales, so for me, one of the areas that I always, in terms of my business, whenever I've had a problem, I've always been able to sell my way out of the problem. If I've had cash flow problems, I've got to go out and sell. So what I hear from you is rather than waiting for business to come in, you got to be proactive and go create the business. The more you create the business, the more that business comes, the bigger it'll grow, the bigger the team you get. Does that make sense, Rose? So, any other questions, folks, around this before I start wrapping it up for you? Keep typing if you have any questions. I'm going to move through to this. So just here's a different sort of version of the template that we use, and you can use the same sort of thing. So there are actions January to March. What are the rocks? What's the personal accountability? Who is it? What's the key rock that they're measuring? So write it down, sit down, and create clarity around this. Okay, so accountability for each template in the team. Now, your strategic plan needs to be able to match this. It's called the sales funnel. What's in your sales funnel? How are you driving sales? How are you generating leads? What leads lead to revenue generation? What levels of revenue generation you have? And what's the total that you're going to come? And that should match the strategic plan that you have, and the activities that you do in the strategic plan should match your funnel. So when we do our funnel, what are the programs we're running? What are the events we're doing? What are the webinars we're doing? What are all the things that we put into our funnel in order to drive something out the bottom? So the other side to OnePage strategic plan now is developing that sales funnel. So essentially what you're going to end up with is you have a one-page strategic plan that gives you the 1 year to the 10-year or beyond horizon. What's your mission? What are your key things? Okay. Now, if you get this as you go into next year, that 1 year will change. The 3 year will keep its moment. When you get to the 3 year, you start shifting that 3 year. But the 1 year is something that changes all the time, like the quarter and the week and the month, if that makes sense. So you're going to have that one-page strategic plan that'll show this year, 3 to 5 years, 10 years and beyond. Then you're going to have your accountability piece, which will show your quarter and your month, continually changing. And the third piece you're going to have is your sales funnel. You develop that, stick them on your wall, look at them every day, drive the activities you need. And what I promise you is that in 12 months, if you create this type of focus, get out, take action. Look, this is all pretty stuff. It looks nice on the wall. If there's no action taken, that's all it is. It's nice stuff on the wall. The most important part is taking action to what you put down. Action creates results. So you drive the action, you drive it towards the sales funnel, drive the activities that you need in your strategic plan, and you create results. So implementing a one-page strategic plan, put it all together, set up a weekly review session with you and your team, or with somebody that can hold you accountable. If you're self-employed and on your own, find someone that can hold you accountable, hold your team accountable, and start driving that. Set up a monthly review session, so a weekly review session, a monthly review session, where you're reviewing everything that's going on. Keep it really focused on the areas that you have identified as key initiatives, key thrusts, key priorities, and then create the results you want by focusing on the action that is required. Any questions or comments, folks, before I finish off? Type them in, put your hand up if you'd like to say anything, if you'd like to comment, if you'd like to ask any questions. Thank you for the feedback. So while you're typing or asking any questions or giving any feedback, just if I can, just to let you know that we have a couple of programs coming up this Saturday. For those of you that are in Johannesburg and are interested, we are putting on we have a program called the Awaken Your Financial Genius Introductory Program. What is that program about? It is about that. It's about awakening your financial genius. Where do you sit when it comes to money? Do you really understand what money is? Now, I say that, but the reality is what did school actually teach you about money? What have you learned about money? And the second most, or one of the most important things around building a business and being an entrepreneur is understanding and becoming financially literate. So those of you that might be interested, I'm going to ask Marlon to put up the link on Saturday morning thank you, Marlon. Saturday morning in Bedford View at the Nickel Hotel. It's 150 Rand or 500 Rand for a table of 5. I teach a program called Awaken Your Financial Genius, which is a program over the last 24 months that I've been very blessed to work directly with Robert Kiyosaki on and develop it with Kiyosaki. And it is the initial program that leads into a program that, let me ask you this. How many of you would be interested in spending 6 days in a room with about 100 people with Robert Kiyosaki and some of the Rich Dad advisors? Who would be interested in doing that? Hands, 1, 2, 3. Only 3 of you? 4. Okay, so just to let you know that in May, I'm bringing Robert Kiyosaki out to do a 6-day event with me called Get Real. Now, Awaken Your Financial Genius is a program that leads into the Get Real program. And it's very unique in terms of, I've been around Robert, Rich Dad, Blair Singer for 12 years. I've never been in a room or seen Robert teach a 6-day program. Very, very unique. So those of you guys that, if you're interested, what I'm going to encourage you to do is we have a program on Saturday. We'll have another one coming up in as well. But come along to an Awaken Your Financial Genius intro program. See what it is that we teach when it comes to financial literacy in terms of for entrepreneurs and for businesses, and then work with us around that. And let's see if we can really help you take your income that you generate to a whole new level in terms of your business. So, Devs, the dates in May are from the 23rd to the 30th of May. So it's 2 days, 23rd, 24th, 26th, 27th, 29th, 30th, with 2 days in between to do homework. So great having you on that. And then Marlon will also send you guys details, if you're good with it, around my April event, which is the Sales and Leadership Mastery Program. You know, Rose, your question, I'm going to suggest that if you want to take your sales, for example, to a whole new level, come and join us for the Sales and Leadership Mastery Program. It's a very intensive 2-day event. And what I guarantee you is the person that you come into the room as, you will leave as a different person, as a different entrepreneur, as a different person generating and creating income. So Marlon, please, we need to get back to Abdullah around Robert's program. Abdullah, do me a favor, do send a personal message to Marlon with your email address, and we'll jump on that. So any questions or comments before we finish? Hope to see some of you at the Awaken Your Financial Genius program. Devs, if you're interested in the program for May, touch base with me, and we'll talk about how we can make it work and do the Awaken Your Financial Genius program. I may have to come to Harare if we can put enough people in the room and run a program there if you're interested. So let's see what we can do around that. So folks, any other questions? Hope you had a great evening. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being on this entrepreneurial hangout. And yeah, look forward to our next webinar, which is the last Tuesday of this month, or the first Tuesday of this month, which is next Tuesday. So jump on that, and we'll hopefully add value to what you're doing. Looking forward to see you guys soon. Be blessed, and handing over back to Marlon. Thanks, Marlon. Back to you.
Thanks, Barry. Very informative as always. Good. Looking forward to actually filling out the rest of this strategy session. If anybody wants to review any of the content, it's going to be on the website, on the webinar section. Emails will go out to everybody probably within the next 2 days so you can get the replay and be able to watch it at your leisure. So thank you very much. We're going to be back next week for another webinar. So feel free to, I think that'll be a great time to, if you've done it, to maybe review, ask more questions around the strategy session and get more sort of feedback on it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to everyone that's thanking me in the comments section. Have a great evening and see you guys next week.